cut it here and here about, and just make it fit. Long story short, I need a bicycle for a trip I'm planning to Europe. I'm going to Croatia specifically. I'm going to do a bike packing trip there. The airliner quoted me $160 American each way to get my bike to Croatia for this trip. And I said, that's too much. I'm not going to do it. I looked into folding bicycles with 20-inch rims. There's some really cool ones out there. Bike Friday, for example, makes one I think I'd like, but I still can't afford to just buy a specially purposed bicycle. It'd be like $800 or something like that just for the frame if I wanted something cool. And I could buy one when I get there, but I'm a bit worried about the language barrier. And I don't want to buy anything new there because I'd be worried about having to sell it afterwards. So I'm going to have to make something. I'm going to make a 26-inch frame fit inside of a luggage case that I can take on the airplane without having to pay any oversized fees. That's the goal. Let's check out what I've got so far. In the walkway, I've just recently got home with this bicycle. I got a Specialized, I don't know what it is actually. We'll call it a stunt jumper or something like that. Anyways, it's got a 1 1/8 head tube, which will be beautiful for disassembling. 26-inch wheels. I got this for $50 at my local used bike shop for cyclistas. It's a wonderful place. And here is the suitcase I bought. This is the absolute biggest suitcase you can bring as checked luggage without it being oversized. I got this at the local thrift store for next to nothing. It smells a lot like cigarettes, and it has been well loved in somebody's closet. So I'm very thrilled that I'm able to own this now. And so the first thing is I'm gonna try and make that bicycle, these two wheels, fit inside of this suitcase, no matter what. I have some plans. So obviously the frame is too long, and that's totally fine. But first, I'm gonna cut it, I think. Cut it here and here about, and just make it fit. And if I can get it to fit, then we'll move on to our next step, which is making it not be cut in half when I get there. Stay tuned. Bike's all apart. The fork was a little bit seized in. It's okay now. And you can see, I think that all of this is gonna fit in here, no problem. I just now have to decide how I'm gonna cut this. What would be really simple and easy is having a smaller diameter tube inside of both down tube and the top tube. But the problem is they won't connect together because these aren't parallel, the top and the bottom tubes. So I think what I'm gonna do is put a tube in the bottom that's inside here, clamp it so that doesn't go anywhere. And then at the top, I've just been sort of drawing out some rough sketches. What I think I might do, I might cut along here, same on the other side. And then what that will do is it'll split this in half, and then when you put the seat tube in, it'll connect it, and then you clamp the bottom. But I'm a little bit nervous about this area, what might happen if I cut that. So I gotta think a little bit more about it and make sure that I'm sure that with the seat tube in here and it clamped in place that it'll be all good, because of course there's gonna be a lot of force kind of pushing up against here. So all the force is gonna have to be acting on the seat tube. And of course, when you're riding, you're sitting back on the seat, which is gonna twist it back. And then of course, there's gonna be a force this way from the head tube, making it wanna twist. So I have to kind of make sure, which is why this goes down and it gets clamped on the bottom, because I'm more worried about this portion of it. Like there's this tiny thin section right here, worried about breaking. So I'll see how I can sort of help that out. But yeah, some thinking to be done there. I'll be back with the Dremel, start cutting. All right, so we're just out here in my workshop space for these sort of activities, designated by my landlord. got where I want to cut it marked out here. There's a bit of rhyme to why I'm doing this. I think that, so with the wheel on inside the suitcase, about here is good. So these tubes they're butted. So the inner diameter is going to be a little bit smaller here. So from here to here is where I'm going to have the inner tube. Because at this point inside, there's going to be a big bump where these screws go in, so I can't have a tube going there unless I cut a notch out. Then up here, as I showed earlier, I got my lines marked out, and we're going to do it with a Dremel. So pretty good. Nice. Wow. Here it is. It fits inside of the suitcase with 2 tires, full size, a rear rack, and everything. This is it. So I'll show how it goes back together. I think that's an easy way to sort of visualize what I've done. So nothing's happened to the wheels. The rack has to be off, unfortunately, but I'm happy to be able to have a rack because I thought I was gonna have to get a new one. There's the front triangle. Here's some tires. I'm not gonna use these though because they're really cracking bad. So when I arrive at my destination, this is what the bike will be like. What I've done is I think I showed this clamp. This is from a scooter, which I got in a recycling bin. So usually the down tubes are either 35 or 32 mil. And so that's a pretty standard bike clamp size. And it seems to be as well for like scooters and such. The inner diameter of this was a pretty weird size. A seat post for like a folding bike would have worked. Almost. It was a little bit too big. So I just ended up grabbing some aluminum stock, and then I turned this down because I have access to that, but not to discourage anybody that doesn't have access to a lathe. This, you could have made this with a seat post or something. I just had it and I had this aluminum, and to be honest, I mean, there could have been better because look how, like, I just drilled that out and I didn't feel like drilling it out anymore. So this is like, I mean, it's not that heavy because it's aluminum, but it's still heavier than it needs to be. And there's just a little step down there because this tubing is butted, which means the wall thickness increases here, which means the inner diameter gets a little bit smaller. So you need to have a little bit smaller of a piece of aluminum. So that just slides in there, goes all the way down. And then this goes into there, and I wanted to put some carbon grease grit stuff, the gritty grease. The bike shop didn't have any. I intend to use that in here because otherwise this aluminum will seize to the steel. But if I put normal grease, then it probably won't work as well. So let me slide this together here. And then on the top, as you can see, it's cut. That slides in there. And then the seat post, which I also want to get some of that carbon grit because this is also, oh my God. And then the top gets clamped, and then this is a clamp. I think it's for like, I actually don't really know. I think this is a clamp so you can use like a top pull front derailleur. Anyways, it's a 32 mil clamp. The seat post is actually like 33 mil because it's butted, but it's externally butted. You can even see right here. It's 32 here, and then it jumps to 33. So this metal's quite thick, which is nice because I've obviously cut it in a way that's a little precarious. But yeah, you clamp that in, and then I forgot, this sits over here, but I've obviously missed it. So I'm gonna throw this bike together, and then we're gonna build it back up with mostly its original components for now. Give it a test, and if it all works well, we're gonna pimp this thing out, and it's gonna be awesome. All right, here it is back together after like 5 hours or something of me realizing I don't have some of the things that I need. All that I did is I put V-brakes on it because I kind of prefer V-brakes a bit, and then I took off the grip shifters and put these nice silicone grips, brake levers for the V-brakes, friction shifters because I just like the no hassle of those, a new seat, but I'm gonna put the old seat back on because it's way taller. As you can see, there's like, I mean, it's literally a stilt, whereas that one's very low profile. And with that one, the seat has to be so high that I'm uncomfortable. And plus this seat says touring on it. So it seems like the obvious choice. It's got a 3x8, which was just on it. Some flat pedals. Oh, and I got some Kenda K-Rad Elites, which are a bit big for the rim, but they look cool, and I think they'll be a good tire for this bike. I think later I'll put some bigger bars on it so I can hold more stuff on the handlebars. Right now I don't think I'll have a handlebar bag. There's just like not enough room. Oh, and I'm gonna put the back rack back on. Oh my shit, it's cool. Right, so after a day of riding, don't know how far we went, not super far. We're here on Pender Island. This campground's full, so we're camping on the grass. Oh. Anyway, as you can see, the bike is still in one piece. I was thinking about this a lot while I was riding today. Hope it doesn't slip, but I really don't think it will. But it's gonna take me a while to gain confidence in it. Here you can see what I was using as my bike rack system, just tires. This one scooped and held my backpack in place. Then I had a dry bag on the rack and two of these front racks for my sleeping stuff and my tent. Day 2 of biking. Still working. The bike's a little small for me though. We made it down this gnarly single track trail, but we've been met with my nemesis on a bike with a seat that's 4 feet out of the bike. Stairs. Handled well though. These new tires are very slippery on wet routes, but it makes it pretty interesting. It's really not a problem.
These are cheese though.
Yeah, this is the cheese. Here we are, we have a 2-hour wait for our ferry because it's Sunday. That is fantastic. Here we are, I'm leaving in 2 days to go on this trip. Nothing much has changed. The only thing is I added these drop bars because I wanted to put a big bag in the middle. And then because I didn't like the drop bars and I regretted it, I added a huge extension. So now it looks a bit funny, but it's okay, it'll work. It kind of almost looks more like a folding bike now with that massive thing. Oh. Now I'm going to take it apart. So the wheels have to come off. Tires have to be at least deflated. This is great news. The dollar store, Allen key set, has this right size socket head. It's one size. It's not one size fits all. So then all I have to bring is this Allen key and these pliers and a crank puller for this super convenient folding bicycle. There used to be cantilever brakes, but I put V-brakes on, and as a result I need a cable the whole way, but the cable disconnects from the frame for folding. Check that out. Now the cables are all loose. This clamp is awesome. I'm so happy I found this clamp. It's so perfect for the job. It's a little clamshell thing. Okay, I'm not bringing a hammer on the trip, so I have to use something available to me to hit this. Because anything I use to take this apart, terrible idea. Here's the start of my packing mission. It's coming together. All the bike parts are in there except for that one rim. I'm putting stuff in between the rim and that. All right, at the airport. A bit nervous because my bag is too heavy and I don't want them to know there's a bicycle. Here we are at Frankfurt. They let me through. They got a bit angry with the really long head tube bolts because they thought that would be pretty dangerous. Flying into Croatia. And there she is, coming down the carousel. Let's just listen. And coming. it is.
Yeah, that's a good noise. Oh my god.
We should just get scooters.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was genuinely thinking about that because you could strap a bike to a scooter.
This is called Chegley. And we're building a bike.
In she goes.
So after this bike's built, we're gonna ride to Slovenia. So we're in Croatia, Chegley, a town called Chegley. Building up the bike. My friend Darko's grandparents' house.
For my video.
And there it is.
We can do it after the trip is over.
Put together.
They're amazing.
Wow, it's so ugly. And here it is to start. We're so optimistic. Look how nice it is outside. Mostly farms from Chegley to Slovenia.
Oh, there's a dock. People are
It's
swimming.
really pleasant. And the bike, I'm getting some trust, going fast. Look at all that stuff beside the wheel, that's so sketchy.
Here's the border crossing that we may or may not should have gone in to do that. Maybe, maybe not.
Welcome to Slovenia.
This is a big hill, so just stop for lunch, and this is when I realized this bike sucks. Like we're about 60k in, and it is so hard. Like I can just immediately tell that there's something wrong. It feels like the brakes are on all the time. So I gave it to Dre. Look at his legs. He's got no problem, and he's pedaling, and I got his nice gravel bike. But it's getting later in the day, and we're far.
It's getting dark. We're about 25 to 27 kilometers away from our sleeping spot. Which the problem is that we have no idea how to get there. Because Google Maps is telling us to take bushwhacking routes.
But after 140k or more yesterday, we made it to this nice place.
I think that it's mostly like this.
And well, it's the morning time now, obviously.
So there's clouds. And now this is really what traveling's about, is you get to see things like this. Plants.
In the wild.
Yeah.
Protein bar.
See if we zoom in. Down there. That's called a house. They used to put brothels at the top of mountains, like this one, so that only fit men could make it. Interesting, hey?
So I was pretty tired at this point, a little bit frustrated. I shouldn't say frustrated, but just pissed. So now then we left the gravel because it was way too tough. We went mountain biking. Anyways, now we're on the roads.
The cars, they just drive on the bike path here. Obviously. See? Bike path. My foot slipped off the pedal. Now you can just get an idea of the hazards in this place. I mean, just look at it. It's a death trap.
Alright, it's the next day. The day prior, we got on the roads, and then it took us another like 5 hours to get to Bled from Ljubljana. So we're in Bled at this incredible Lego museum, which is what people usually do in the mountain town of Bled. They go to this Lego museum. Unbelievable. Yeah, they've got bars in Bled as well. But we decided to take a rest day here because it was so pretty and just the coolest place. And hang out.
Did you show them the background?
I did, yeah.
Yikes, putting the folding bike to use. totally not expecting to take it apart, but my good friend Dallas, he's the one on the right. He's looking really cool, but his knee hurt.
What are we doing, Bri?
We're using the folding feature of this cycle to its peak right now. Our one other traveling companion has come down with a knee injury and has to go home. They can't take their bike home because it's too big. It doesn't fold. So I'm giving him my bicycle. At 6 o'clock in the morning, he's gonna leave with this, hopefully wrapped in a bunch of saran wrap and boxes that we got from the grocery store. And then hopefully they'll let him on the bus with it.
Amen. So what's the first plan to taking apart this bike?
The fucking fork. Looks about like a suitcase. This is awesome.
This is what we're trying to do here, is just create something that looks exactly like a suitcase. Nobody would be at all suspicious of. And don't you just love it when a plan comes together? Alright, it's that time of day. You can see it on my hand. I've been sleeping on cardboard. Actually, I've been sleeping on the ground the whole trip because the thermarest I have brought, I think it popped in the airplane.
Those high quality.
But the cardboard was a nice improvement.
On the market. Plastic instead.
Yeah, nice try trying to repair that, buddy. Bet that's gonna work out for you. So I'm on my new bike for the trip, the one that Dallas gave me. Good riddance to the folding bike. That thing was awful.
Somebody out here super into cows. They've got like 10 of them.
So after stopping at the cow enthusiast's house and a bit of pedaling later, we made it to the mountains. Check these out. This is a public service announcement to anybody who's considering going to anywhere, really. This bar, don't get it, it's terrible.
New bike day. You gonna hold this right there?
Yeah.
Let's see here. I did a huge somersault.
So, Brian's front tire locked up. He flew over the handlebars, did a perfect fucking somersault, and now the front bike is a little bit broken, as you can
We're missing
see.
too many spokes, but we're gonna try and true it with what we have available, and these two missing spokes. Woo. Okay, we got this. We got it.
How are you feeling, Brian?
Pretty good.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
We're getting there.
Minus a couple spokes, but we're back in business.
Oh. We've waited too long, and now how is it? It has antlers and tits, or boobs. I thought that female cows didn't have antlers.
But that's a massive cow.
Good job, cow. Oh, there's.
Oi.
Look at all these donkeys. Oh my gosh, just accused donkeys.
Just cruising down. We're gonna stay in Trenta this evening. maybe like a 30-minute bike down these awesome roads. Okay, we're in Italy now. Now we randomly decided that we're going to continue biking after 100 kilometers and go to Venice to meet up with our friend Dallas. He hurt his knee. Look, there's a pigeon. And we did it. We made it to Venice.
I've been reunited with my bicycle. I've come down, had to come down to Venice to pick it up from the fellow. Seems to be in good nick. It's funny, I think I said before coming here that the best part about this bike is it's a piece of crap and I can just ditch it if I don't want to carry it anymore, but here I am carrying it.
Well, there you have it, a heartwarming story of a guy who had a bike, didn't really talk about it, and didn't really ride it. Thanks so much for watching.
Oh, jeez. The sweetest romance ain't meant to be shared with the world unless you're underwear.